Hello guys, my name is Gavin, and this will be a video on how to use a ray object, or a ray sensor, to make the object visible that the ray is over, but if it moves off that object, it'll turn invisible again. There will be some Python involved, and I'm just going to get started. So to start off, what you want to do is right-click on this camera and hit X and delete, and right-click on this light and hit X and delete. Right-click on your cube in the middle, click on this right here, and rename it to ray object like this. Let's then go from defaults to game logic and from Blender render to Blender game. And on our ray objects, let's add two keyboard sensors. This top one will be named left. I'll put A and minimize this. And I'll put right here, put D, and minimize this. Add two motion actuators now. And what we're going to do is have it rotate on the Z axis. For left, let's put 2. And for right, let's put -2. Alright, connect these accordingly like this. So if we hit P to play, we should see it's going to look like this. Okay, now that we have that, what we're going to do is add an always sensor. Whoops. Add an always sensor, click these first three dots, and add a ray sensor. This ray sensor we renamed as ray, and the property it's going to look for is block. I'm going to put the range as 100. Alright, minimize this. Let's add a Python controller, and let's connect it to our sensors like this. Alright, now that we have that, let's add a string game property with target name being the name of the string property. And now that we have that, let's do spacebar and then add a cube like this. This cube, once we drag it out, we're going to make it an actor like this. Okay. And now that we have that, let's actually add the property block to it. Because if you remember, that's what our ray sensor is looking for right here. Alright. Now that we have that, what we're going to do is do templates, Python, and then game logic simple. And I'm going to delete the portion that I've highlighted right here. Alright. I'm going to rename this script to rayObjects.py and add this right here. Now to start off, we want to make sure our ray sensor is actually just working. So I'm going to do from BGE import render. And down here what we're going to do is define the ray. So we're going to have ray is going to equal const.sensors ray. And have if ray.positive. Positive. We're going to do render.drawLine. Own.world position. So essentially the ray is going to draw from the cube. It's going to draw to the ray.hit position. And it's going to be red. So 1, 0, 0 like this. So if we were to hit P to play, we should see there's now a red line in the middle like this. Okay. Now that we have that, I'm going to hit this I right here and do game and then show debug properties. So if we hit P, we can see in the corner it's going to look like this. Alright. What we now want to do is get the name of the object that we're hitting. So let's have the variable name target is going to equal ray.hitObject. And what we want to do is have own target name, our game property, is going to equal target. And if we're not hovering over anything, if array is not positive, we're going to have own target name is going to equal just empty quotations. Now, if we were to hit play now, you might notice that it's not really going to label anything if we're hovering over our object like this. And the reason for that is that it's technically not reading target as a string. So let's just put str around it to convert it to a string like this. So if we hit P now, we see it's going to write cube if we hover over the cube like this. Okay. Now that we have that, let's right click on this cube over here. Our block, the one that the ray sensor is hitting. We're going to add an always sensor. Add a Python controller, and let's do templates, Python, and then game logic simple. Delete the portion that I've highlighted like this, and hit Control and scroll up to make your text larger. I'm going to rename this to script.py or whatever you want. minimize this now. Sorry. And what we're going to do is define the current scene. So let's have scene is going to equal bg.logic.getCurrentScene, like this. And we're now going to get the name of our array object within our script. So array object is going to equal scene.objects array object, like this. And what we're going to do is have if the array object's target name game property is equal to the name of this game object, it's going to be invisible, or it's going to be visible. So what we're going to do is down here, we're going to have if array objects target name is equal to own.name. We're going to have own.setsVisible 1, and else we're going to have own.setsVisible 0, like this. So we should see, if I drag this in, if I hit P now, it's going to be visible and then invisible. And if I were to copy this cube a bunch of times, like this, and drag them back and forth, we can see it's going to turn them invisible and visible like this. Alright guys, that is how to make an object visible and invisible with Array Sensor. I hope you found this useful. I will just show you the scripts just for one more second. So here's the first script right here. Switching back to the second one, right here. Alright guys, hope you found this useful.